For centuries, mankind has always had a fascination with things that we don't understand or can't explain. Events throughout history gave birth to legends and lore which were used to instill fear, teach lessons, or entertain. Although the advancements of science has been able to explain certain events, there are many that we still can't explain. The foothills and backroads of America are home to such tales that our elders have handed down through generations. Legends of witches, ape men, and other supernatural beings have survived through the years as more people grow interested. As some legends die, others are created. But one unexplainable occurrence that remains a constant throughout the world is the spook light phenomenon. It's not hard to see why this oddity is often overlooked. When we talk about the paranormal, the first things we think of are ghosts, UFOs, Sasquatch, and other cryptids. When you read about the mysterious lights that are seen throughout the world, you'll find that there are various stories and theories about the source, yet no definitive answer is generally given. Some cases involve a grisly murder or tragic death, and the spirit of the deceased is the culprit. Others trace back to Native American roots, while some reach to the other end of the spectrum and claim that UFOs or aliens are behind the sightings. To a skeptic, these all may seem silly, as some cases can be determined through scientific explanation. Theory suggests such natural occurrences such as swamp gas are behind the sightings, which may be the case in a fraction of the sightings, but in some cases, the lights fall into the category of the unknown.
My name is David Glidden, and I'm a paranormal researcher. Living here in the Ozarks, there's a lot of folklore and legends. One of the more popular tales is of the spook light. Just outside of Joplin, Missouri, about an hour away from me, is where the spook light is seen. And one night after taking Josh there to try to witness this phenomenon, we got to thinking about whether or not this was a worldwide phenomenon and also what caused people to see this thing. So we started doing some research, and we found out that this happens worldwide, and every story is different, and we wanted to find out what the truths are behind these stories, and also what are some of the scientific explanations behind these sightings.
I'm very excited that Dave asked me to be a part of this project for a couple different reasons. Number one, I think this is a subject that has been grossly overlooked within the paranormal community. And number two, I'm very excited to see if we can somehow correlate historical fact with evidence that we may collect within the field. So I'm very excited to get this started and actually get out there.
After hours of research and consideration, we settled on 3 locations for our quest of the lights. Welcome to St. Mary's, Iowa, population 128. Since there was no library in this small farming town, we went to the next best place to gather information, the local tavern. It was there that we learned more about the legend, but more importantly, we met Jim Gavin, the man who owned the property in which the light is said to appear.
I'm just really looking forward to getting out on this land, on this guy's property, and hopefully getting to experience this for ourselves.
I mean, there's so many claims out there that it's interesting to think about, because it's almost like this thing would have some form of intelligence. It is, it's able to approach people, almost like there's some curiosity about these people. It's usually hovering like anywhere from waist to chest height. But I'm very excited to get out there, hopefully be able to investigate, and with the array of shit that we have, with the thermal cameras and the night vision and all of that, like, I'm really, really hoping to experience this for ourselves.
My name is Jim Gavin. We moved here in March of 1965. We bought the farm in 64. Well, I've heard from different people after we bought it that oh, you're going to see the light out there and you're going to be this and that, and I never have seen it. But when we was in high school, there used to be, of course, the roads were all mud then, dirt, and they'd come out. People would come out here and sit and look to see the what they call the ghost light, the ghost of St. Mary's. Lots of times they'd ask directions where it was, and we'd give them the wrong directions, and they'd go someplace, just pranks. But since then, there's been 2 different people came here, and since we moved here, and said that they seen this light. And I've never seen it. My brother claims he's seen it. Him and a classmate, they claim they was going down what's pavement now. They wasn't then. They was going home down here, about a mile, and they claimed they seen something. Anyway, it was enough that it scared them.
Legend has it that in the 1870s, a girl named Bella Wallace had either died of a tragic death or had died in a fire. Ever since her untimely death, locals have reportedly seen a light anomaly roaming the land. Some say it's a natural occurrence, while others believe it's the ghost of Bella Wallace.
They said it would appear down there in a grove just west of the house, and I have never seen it. My sister called me when we first moved here, and he went bowling one night, and she said, "Have you seen it yet?" And I said, "Well, I've been looking." But it was supposedly supposed to be kind of in this area, so I came in here and walked around and looked. And it's kind of eerie. It made you feel kind of strange sometimes when you would think about it.
Our kids were up there, and they were hanging on that banister there, and students from Simpson College, and that was probably in '65. They said they had to make a story on the ghost of St. Mary's. There was 3 of them come to this door, and I told them no, I didn't want to talk to them because those kids are hanging on that. And so they went around to this door, and me and my wife talked to them and made sure the kids were back upstairs. And they was never scared of anything or anything, but being little like that, I didn't want them to be all their life, because I knew they was going to have to live here, and I didn't want them scared to go outside.
The majority of the sightings seem to come from earlier generations. Over the last few decades, however, the once embraced light seems to have lost its popularity.
Yeah, they had Ghost Light Days in St. Mary's. They called it Ghost Light Days. It was just more like a 4th of July parade or thing, And they did that for several years, but then people got so they didn't want to organize it, and they kind of did away with it. In the 40s and the early 50s, it was pretty popular. I mean, there was lots of people knew about the ghost of St. Mary's. They not necessarily all seen it, but they'd all looked for it. If it was a gas formation, like they said, on a swamp light, if that's what it was, why, the farming practices of today have probably disturbed it, and it's gone.
After gentle persuasion, we were given permission to camp on Jim's property for 2 nights to catch this ever-elusive light. What we didn't expect was that he would be so kind to let us have free reign. Before it got too late, we made a trip to the Indianola Public Library to try researching the story of Bella Wallace, the girl who in 1872 died on the property.
What we're going to do here, we've gotten a couple books on the cemetery and death records of Warren County. There's also a Wallace cemetery record. The girl that died in the house fire, her name was Isabel Wallace. We're going to see if she's actually in this cemetery. If we can't find her in here, then the chances are she's not. So that's what we're going to do right now, just to verify the story of her death. This is supposed to go from 69 to 74, but it goes from 71 to 73 in an instant. Now we're in 73.
So it literally skips the year 1872.
Yeah, completely skips it.
We came up empty in our time at the library, which was a little discouraging. But night was coming quickly, and we had to get back to see if we could experience the mysterious light.
So since we finished up in Indianola at the library, we came here, we sat down with Jim and had a nice little conversation and a chat. What was really interesting is the fact that he's never personally experienced this light for himself. So maybe tonight, I don't know, we might get lucky, we might not. What was really interesting is the fact that he told us that we could camp here. I mean, he has 160 acres worth of ground that he's just letting us set up shop and camp here and try to experience this phenomenon for ourselves. So it could get very interesting this evening.
What we're going to do to start off the night is we're going to go through the whole field over here, and we're going to do a sweep. Josh has got a thermal imaging camera that we're going to use to check for possible rodent dens, things that might disturb us while we're out here. And you know, if the light shows up and we can see if there's any kind of color to it or heat signature to it, then so be it. I'm also going to be running an EMF detector out there to see what the natural EMF is like out in this field. So we're going to try to get some of this natural stuff out of the way as we go, and then we'll continue to make rounds throughout the night.
A lot, actually. Thank you. Yep.
Still there?
Okay. It is still there. It's just it'll only come red here when I'm focusing on it. So maybe
Straight out.
Yep, straight off from us. So I'm gonna change this a smidge just to see. It's still there. Should have got like a 5 million candle power something.
Light.
That's what it's called. Just judging by that tree, then I can tell that's a tree. That's a tree. Those are tower lights and a car light that is now gone.
Are you sure that's it?
That's crazy.
Are you sure that's it though? It's like staying there.
Like that.
I saw one right over here by this blue light on the left.
Yes.
But then there's that orange light there, but
I think that's a house.
yeah, I think that's
that's a house.
After hours of monitoring the area, we had finally seen something. A bright light originated from the wood line and emanated a dull glow. Other lights from the nearby highway, town, and other man-made structures pierced the darkness, making it hard for us to figure out what it was that we had just seen.
I see the blue light still.
Yeah, I see the blue light. I got that. But what the fuck happened to the other light?
I don't know.
Unless that is a house light and they just went to bed.
But I thought the house was over there.
It was
Like-
over there.
Like over there. This
It
way.
is over there. But so what's over here?
That's the house right there.
Yeah, the house is over this way. So what the fuck's that? Is that a house? Right here?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah, that is a house on the right. You can see the top of it now when this car goes by.
Okay. Yeah, I see that house.
But yeah, what the?
And now this light over here.
It's still there.
It's still there, okay.
Did we just see it?
I think.
I just sounded like Bill Cosby right there too. Totally sounded like Bill Cosby. Did we just see it?
You see? What the happened? The pop? Like, it is fucking. I don't know what that is. That's got to be something natural, right? That's got to
Yeah.
be something.
It's
What the
too
fuck?
constant.
What the fuck was that?
But then again, I thought this was too constant to be.
I saw it come in to existence. Like, it, like, just appeared. Like, not fast, but not slow. It just like, whoop, here I am. I saw it move. At this point, right now, as of 11:24 p.m. on August 16th, I'm saying there's a high probability we just saw the spook light, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Something anomalous. That is for dang sure.
Okay, let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Where did we think it was going to be at
Where did we think?
originally, before we met Jim?
Originally, we thought it was going to, so right along the road. That's what we were talking about in the diner, wasn't it?
Yeah, we thought it was going to be right
Yep.
over there.
Exactly. And initially, we wanted to camp right there. You remember that?
Yeah.
When we came out here with the gator, that's where we wanted to camp. I think we may have to move our shit tomorrow.
I think so.
So, it's officially day 2. I didn't sleep for shit. I'll be alright. I don't know what we experienced last night, but it was crazy. Pretty positive we saw the light. But now that it's actually daylight out, it'll give us an opportunity to go and see if we can debunk what we experienced. So you need to wake up.
How'd you sleep?
I slept really good.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think I'm on a slant
Yeah.
because I started up here and I slid down this way somehow.
I did some weird shit last night too. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on.
But
I think I may have found our spook light though.
we may have.
Do you see it over there?
Huh?
Do you see it over there?
Oh, no. We'll have to get up.
Yeah.
But interesting night, I guess.
I would say so, man.
Had a flash behind us.
Yeah.
Seeing stuff in the sky. Saw the one flash in the tree line. Like just a flash and then potential lights.
Yeah.
Today's all about discovery again. I think we got to
gotta go look and see what that was.
For damn sure. We gotta see if we can confirm, debunk, anything.
And today we gotta hit the Historical Society, so that'll be fun.
Hell yeah, dude.
Then move camp.
Relocate.
But the most important thing we gotta do is I gotta go pee-pee.
After a brief examination of the area in which we had seen the light, we were able to come up with a satisfactory explanation for what we had witnessed. We were dead set to make day 2 of our trip a fact-finding mission. We were lucky to have the Historical Society in Indianola be open, as our mission became a critical success in finding out the truth behind the death of Bella Wallace. We sat down with Jim and Dorothy Gavin to go over our findings and reveal the truth behind the tale of the light's origin.
So one of the things we wanted to do when we came out here was we wanted to find out the truth behind the stories of the light and everything, and part of that has to do with Isabel Wallace. Okay, and to understand exactly what the true story is, you have to do the history, you have to do the digging. So that's what we did.
The first thing we were shown at the Historical Society was an 1872 plat map, which not only confirmed the Wallace family presence, but gave a rough estimate of where the house was located on the property.
Mary Elizabeth here.
Here's a Bella Wallace.
That would have been her, 1872.
Yeah, let's look at the paper and see if we can find that.
October 17th, 1872.
It says she died, but
Following that up, we were shown a death record for Belle Wallace that gave us the exact date and age when she passed.
Isabel. So yeah, everything matches up except for that date. I mean, the date was off, but yeah. I mean, if records were hard to keep back then, so that very well could be her.
You may have just found her, dude.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We can at least verify that story now.
Exactly.
That is awesome. Validating history.
Dang, Skippy.
One of the most interesting and important things that we were shown was the obituary from the local newspaper, which detailed how the young Wallace girl had passed.
Miss Belle A. Wallace, daughter of James M. Wallace, who resides 12 miles west of this city, was burned to death last Friday by the bursting of a coal oil lamp. The unfortunate young lady was about 18 years of age, and her mournful end has cast a gloom over the entire neighborhood in which she lived. Her father and mother were both severely burned in endeavoring to extinguish the flames which were burning their beloved daughter to death. The deceased was buried on Wednesday.
To find the last piece of the puzzle, we set out to find the grave of Belle Wallace. After hours of searching, all of our research had come to a head after locating the site of Isabel Wallace.
All that digging?
All that digging.
Now there's something I kind of want to do. I say we get some flowers for her.
It's a hell of an idea.
We were just kind of fascinated and blown away that we were able to find the history to back up everything that everybody's talked about, and
and claimed, and I thought you guys might like to have this information, so we got you guys a copy there for.
You got a copy for yourself? Then?
I do.
Yeah, so this will be nice for us to have property that not hearsay.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's the big thing, you know. I mean, you know the history of your property now. You know the legends and stuff is now truth. You know what the truth is behind it. So
Yeah, there is truth behind it. Yeah. Well, we always never really doubted it, but we just never ever.
Yeah.
The last night of investigating was rather uneventful, although one particular incident left us scratching our heads. As we moved through the field in the direction of where the home used to be, we stepped into several pockets of cold air. A temperature difference of about 12 degrees made it feel as if we had walked into a freezer, and the gauge on the thermal imager, as well as the Melmeter's thermometer, validated this.
I feel it really
well,
cool.
where we just came from, 74.
Let's see if I can see that.
58. So.
It seems to have been years since anyone has truly seen the light here in St. Mary's. While it is possible and probable that the farming practices and land development could have caused a natural occurrence to disappear, those who believe in a more supernatural tale may just believe that the spirit of Isabel Wallace had finally come to rest. Our next Spook Light location takes us to Joplin, Missouri, where for over a century, many have reported witnessing this mysterious orb of light. Claims made range from seeing it from afar to having it come into their vehicles. While some of the sightings have been debunked as headlights from a highway, other studies have turned up inconclusive. In 1946, the Army Corps of Engineers studied the light, yet found that the source of the light was unexplained. Many have offered the standard explanations of marsh gas, will-o'-the-wisps, and so on, but the only logical source, given the location, is that the lights are electrical atmospheric charges. In areas where rocks deep below the Earth's surface are shifting and grinding, an electrical charge can be created. This area, lying on a fault line running east from New Madrid, Missouri, westward to Oklahoma, was the site of 4 earthquakes during the 18th century. These types of electrical fields are most commonly associated with an earthquake, but in this case, have yet to be proven conclusive. The Spook Light, often referred to as the Joplin Spook Light or the Tri-State Spook Light, is actually in Oklahoma near the small town of Quapaw. However, it is most often seen from the east, which is why it has been attached to the tiny hamlet of Hornet, Missouri, and the larger, better-known town of Joplin.
So we ran into a guy up on the road, our contact that was going to let us camp at our property. She wasn't available. So this guy actually ended up saying, hey, why don't you come down here and you guys can camp down here, just, don't make a mess, don't party or anything. So we're not going to party. Josh might have a party, but we're not. I'm not. I'm responsible.
After setting up camp, we set out to establish a baseline EMF reading along the road. What we found was an odd reading considering that the closer we got to the power lines, the EMF would dissipate.
Right now we're getting
2.1?
2.3. Walk closer to the power line, maybe.
2.4. 02, 04, 03, like 2.3, 1.9, 1.4, 0.8, 0.6, 0.2, flatline. Bringing it back over here. 0.2, 0.7, 1.5, 2.1. As far as a baseline reading, though, it's kind of all over the map. I mean, it's still jumping everywhere. Flat line. It went from 1.6 to nothing. All right, so we are going to take this. We put it on a tripod just so there's absolutely no room for human error, because jostling these things sometimes will send a spike up or anything. So we're just going to take it over here. We're going to put it right in the middle of the road for as long as humanly possible anyway, before a car can come. And we're just going to leave it. So like right now it's reading anywhere from a 2.1 to 2.2, which is quite high. I mean, that's really high even for an active paranormal house that you would go and visit, or anything. That's fairly significant. I don't know, man. Like, it's very odd to me, just because the closer we got to the pole, the lower the reading got, and the closer we get to the road, the higher the reading gets. I don't get it.
Unless possibly there's
2.3, 2.2.
a line running under the road.
There's a possibility. You know what? It's a good point. So I'm just gonna move it up here. It's doing nothing but climbing. 3.0, 3.2, 3.3. What the frick, man?
There's a tower up here.
Uh-huh. I think we should go down the road here farther and see what we can come up with. This is bizarre to me. Like, I don't understand why it's doing this.
Good news, bad news.
I don't know.
Good news is we've solidified the fact that there is legitimate EMF.
Right.
Bad news? Gotta go by that bowl.
I'm fine with it.
So he jumps the fence and comes after us.
He'll be fine. Right? I hope.
We enlisted some help from John Long, the owner of Moonface Lighting. John brought us some of his infrared lights to help us in our quest to document the light.
Anyway, Josh, this is one of my new lights. Each one of these bulbs puts out 200 milliwatts, which are really super bright.
Right.
This is operated by a 9-volt battery, which is in a compartment back here.
So it is about 10 o'clock out here. We're at the Joplin Spook Light. First night, we haven't seen anything, just a bunch of cars passing. The skies have cleared up a little bit, so we're kind of sky watching as well. John brought his lights out here to help illuminate the roads, just in case we do see something. We can flip them on, turn on the cameras and everything. But you know, just gotta watch out. Just kind of keep our eyes open. You never know when this stuff starts to happen.
Our search on the paved road was largely uneventful, but as we got back to the campsite and started to dump the video footage, a brief light anomaly was seen. After a good night's rest, our mission for day 2 was to do more research on the light, as well as meet up with a couple eyewitnesses to learn their stories. First, we met up with Hank Rotten, who works for a local television station.
First of all, I grew up in a small town, Carterville, Missouri, and if it wasn't for the Baptist church there, we would never do anything, you know, when I was growing up. And one of the things we'd do once I got in junior high, about once a year, we'd take a hayride down to Spook Light. Now, back in them days, we're talking about the late 50s and 60s, and you'd go down to Spook Light, and it was an old dirt road. It was all growed over a lot more, and the Spook Light would pop in and out, and sometimes you'd see it. I've been to the Spook Light many a times and never saw it every time. Went there a lot of times. Went there intoxicated a couple of times too. Saw the Spook Light, we thought. Anyway, and it's changed though as the years went on. They, you know, it's developed down there. It's now a paved road with fast traffic. You can't really go down there and park anymore. So being on the morning show one year, they thought, well, around Halloween it'd be neat for us to go down and do our live shot and catch it live on air. So me and a guy named Larry go down there, and we're there all morning. Nothing. We see a cow or a llama. Really, just nothing. I don't know. Heck, it didn't come out. We're on TV, so we don't do it. A couple of years later, we thought, well, it might be neat to send me down there again. This time, a guy named Taylor was our camera guy. So we go down there, and it's like 4 in the morning. About 4 in the morning, 5. We're getting ready to go on the air at 5:30, and actually we're setting up down there, and we're down in the valley. We went down into the road a lot farther, so we get down there, and actually some of the locals were coming up to me in the cars that early, going, "What are you doing here? Well, there's no spook." They really don't care for you, the spook light being there, even though they bought the land after the spook light was there. So we're sitting there, and I'm actually looking down the road like this and talking to the camera guy, going, last time we were here we didn't see the spook light. I don't know if we'll catch it. So I just kind of turn around and look, and there it was. Now, if you've seen my video on the internet, it was right behind me and kind of high up, because I think it was starting to descend into wherever it goes during the daylight. And we caught it. If you watch it, it was there for a long time. And it was just, and it was kind of breaking up a little bit and stuff, and it was just pretty interesting, that we caught it. I think we were the only people that, to my knowledge, had ever had the spook light live. He didn't let me interview him, but it was quite spooky at the time. You just grow up with it here, back in them days. I don't even know if they talk about it that much now or not.
Before we were to meet our next interview, we hit the library to find anything and everything we could on the spook light.
So the lady with the genealogy department here at the library brought us a folder full of articles and papers and pictures of everything on the spook light, from UFO theory to the occult to paranormal research. There's a lot of information for us to go through, but I think, there may be something in here that might be a little telling. So listen to this out of this article. Documentation of the spook light dates back to 1886. Witnesses throughout the decades have described it as a bobbing and weaving ball of light, appearing to be about the size of a basketball, sometimes splits and divides. Colors of the light may include white, yellow, orange, and red. Jennifer is the 4th generation of an American Indian family that has visited the spook light regularly. She is a White Mountain and San Carlos Apache and was adopted into the Quapaw tribe. She described a kind of ritual she performs to bring out the spook light, passed down through her elders. Something they taught me is whenever you go where there are spiritual beings, give them something as an offering. She said she usually takes a puff of her cigarette and places the rest on the road. She said non-smokers may offer food like a part of a hamburger or french fries. Says she doesn't want to encourage littering, though. Beer cans already litter the ditches along Spook Light Road. In general, when you go to visit an elder, you take tobacco or food, she said. Then she reassures the spook light, which she said she thinks is male. I tell him I'm not here to do any harm, I'm just visiting. The spook light usually cooperates by making an appearance. She said she usually goes in the winter and tries to plan her visits when there aren't a lot of people there. She also said later is better. Go about 11 o'clock and be prepared to sit. So, maybe if this has any Native American ties, maybe we should take an offering. Tobacco. I have a hamburger in the van that I haven't eaten.
Got a lot of cigarettes.
So,
I think this is a great idea. I'm serious. At this point, I'm willing to try anything. I want to experience this shit.
I wonder if she's local. It's so hard to tell what these are.
Well, I'm sorry, but at this point, like, I could stand 100 yards away from you and shine a dim-ass flashlight and say that we captured the spook light.
Yep. This is easy. I mean, the spook light thing's easily faked.
Oh, God. It is easily faked, but that's the bitch of it. I don't want to fake it.
I don't want it either.
I'm going to shake this sumbitch's hand. So I'd say tonight we go and we do bring an offering. Food, tobacco, whatever.
Yep. Tobacco, I mean, especially if it is Native American. I actually was talking to someone who is familiar with the tribes and who is part of like a reservation. She goes out there and helps out or something like that. But she was following us and everything, and I used to work with her. So she told us, you know, if we do get in with any kind of tribes, that, you know, proper procedure or protocol whenever you do meet the chief or, you know, head of the tribe that you're speaking with to get all these permissions or whatnot, it's proper protocol to bring a bag of tobacco, generally, to present to them as a gift, as a show of good faith, I guess.
I think it's one thing to see somebody else's footage of it, but it's another thing if you're going to capture it yourself.
Yeah.
So.
We met with Diane Melton, whose family has a peculiar connection to the spook light.
My great uncle was the second guy that owned the museum out at the spook light. His brother-in-law, Arthur Meadows, was the first spooky, and he bought it from him in I'd say the late 60s, early 70s, and it was my grandpa's brother. And so my mom and dad would go up to visit him and my Aunt Hazel, and so I'd get to sit out on a concrete slab and watch the spook light. I think that he was Indian, so I think that he was interested in the spiritual aspect of it being a spirit. It had been sighted by the Indians back as early as in the 1860s, and so that was way before cars or anything. Billboards, there was no lights like that. But I think that's why he did it. He was actually interested in the Indian spiritual part of it.
We were young when we went in there, and he had an old pool table in there, and you could buy some snacks, and he had old pictures. It was a pretty rundown building, but he had a telescope you could look through there too and look right down the road. But yeah, Spookies is what it was called.
There used to be a tower that you could go up in and look through a telescope and watch it there at the Spooklight Museum. Well, a big storm came through and blew the tower down, and so I'd sit out on the concrete slab that they had. I'd sit there on it, and it was right in front of the road, and I'd sit there and watch it. It'd bounce up towards me. One time it got right, there's several gullies, and it got right up to the very last one, was bouncing around, turned red, turned blue, and split up in four, and then gone. I've seen it a lot of times. I've seen it do a lot of stuff.
Now, one time when I saw it, I was at the end and saw it down there, and it would run in and out of the road and actually divide. I've seen it divide a couple of times, and that day, I haven't seen that video in a while. I think we show it dividing a little bit there and just kind of run around. I don't think it was as active that day as I've seen it before, later in the evening or at night, or then that morning it was kind of just hanging out there. But yeah, it can be real active. Of course, I've heard stories through the years how it's got in people's cars and stuff, but I never had that happen.
Many tales of its origins vary. According to the local legend, the spook light was first seen by Native Americans along the infamous Trail of Tears in 1836. However, the first official report occurred in 1881 in a publication called The Ozark Spook Light.
The story we always heard that it was a pioneer days. A guy was coming through, and his wife went out to gather wood and didn't come back, and that's him with a lantern looking for her. I've heard that. I remember years ago that the Army Corps of Engineers come down here and covered the whole road, and it go in and out, and they can't explain it, so I don't think I can either. I've heard all sorts of stuff, but it's just, to me, it's just one of those weird, freaky things that happens.
Another legend tells of a Quapaw Indian maiden who fell in love with a young brave. However, her father would not allow her to marry the man, as he did not have a large enough dowry. The pair eloped, but were soon pursued by a party of warriors. According to the legend, when the couple was close to being captured, they joined hands above the Spring River and leaped to their deaths. It was shortly after this event that the light began to appear and was attributed to the spirits of the young lovers.
Whenever I watched it, I'm kind of a sensitive. Whenever I watched it, I got a real sad, foreboding feeling. Not that it was going to hurt anybody, but I felt like more like the one with the Indian story was more accurate than the other one. I think that it could probably go anywhere it wants to. I knew a guy that it chased through a field. He was cutting through a field and it chased him. So it can do just about anything it wants to. If you'll notice when you go out there, the houses that are on that road, they have several, not one, but several pole lights all around their house. There's a reason for that. It keeps it away from their house. A lot of people thought it was swamp gases, and they proved that wrong. The Corps of Engineers actually said that they finally determined that it was a light of an unknown origin. I do know that the road that comes off of State Line Road goes east, down the road a bit. I do know that there was a UFO sighted that had landed out in some people's field down there, across from the guy I was going with in high school. He's seen it. And there was a big circle burnt in the ground.
It's just one of them cool four-state phenomena, if that's a proper word, that you can't explain. You know, nobody can, nobody ever has, and you know, everybody says, "Oh, it's gas, it's lights from the highway." Well, they were seeing it before there was any highway, so who knows? It's spooky, is what it is.
What would you say to anybody, like advice-wise, going out there, if they wanted to experience this light for themselves, as somebody like yourself who's experienced it many times? What would your advice be?
Go out there, shut your car off, shut your lights off, and be just as very quiet as you can be. But just be patient. Sometimes you can go out there and not see it at all. But I guarantee you, if you go out there enough, you will see it, because it is there.
So tonight we're trying something a little bit different, because we've heard conflicting stories about where the spook light has been. The research has suggested, of course, out on the main road, the paved road that everybody goes to. But it's been known to travel through a lot of these fields. So the first part of the night, we're actually about a block away on another road that runs parallel. And this is actually a dirt road. And we're going to stay out here for a little while to see if we see it. And then we're going to make our way back to the main road. And, you know, maybe we'll see it over there. We're not sure. There's been times that people have told us that they've seen it. Some of it later at night, some of it in the evening, at dusk, different times. So we just got to do due diligence tonight and make sure we cover as much area as we can.
I'm going to leave this here for you, right in the middle of the road. It's kind of a peace offering for myself, and maybe you will show yourself to us. So I'm just going to step back and let you do your thing.
This right here, guys, this looks almost identical to that picture that it's fairly infamous picture, honestly, of the spook light phenomenon. Shit, dude, you may have just recreated that.
And all it is the moon back here, the light blasting down there. It could have been car lights.
Yeah.
I don't know how well you can see me on that.
I can see you okay.
Okay. Yeah, it may have been car lights that people were seeing. Or what they were using to shoot down there was probably car lights, and then they took a picture of the moon.
Yeah.
Possible. Not saying that's what it is, but that's a possibility.
Absolutely.
This is the majority of what we do.
Hey guys.
After an hour of waiting, we were caught off guard when we had seen a dull light that was the width of the road, glowing upward and highlighting the overhanging tree.
I'm just glad we both saw that.
No
We both just experienced that. Yeah.
Whatever it was like dim at first, and then it started getting brighter, and then it just
and then
dimmed
it's
out, faded
gone.
out.
Yep.
So we just saw a light.
We definitely just saw a light.
Unknown at this point. Not saying it was a spook light, but that was pretty freaking weird.
I mean, we just saw something.
Something.
Anomalous.
I think that's the safest thing we can say right now is that we just saw something. That's it.
I do not have an explanation for that.
That was pretty cool.
That was really, really cool. Because
And here
down
we
there
are.
right now, it's fucking pitch black.
Here we were, we're like, well, this is turning into kind of a boring shot
Yeah.
or shoot, and we may have just seen something. One of the most interesting things is we've been all up and down the main road there today and yesterday, last night especially, but nobody knows that we're back here on this dirt road. We didn't even plan to be back here until today, and we didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, we didn't say a word about where we were going. I'm sure everybody that we talked to today just assumed that we were going back to that main road where we were yesterday.
So whatever we just saw, I mean, it's not somebody screwing with us. They don't know we're back here. Nobody knows we're back here.
We're gonna just see if there's like a crossroad over here that might somehow explain what we just saw. Dude, no fucking way. No way.
Yeah, now we're like across the interstate.
Yeah.
We're way too far.
There's no way.
So we just drove off looking for like a crossroad to figure out or somehow explain what we just saw. Like a glare of headlights or anything like that. The problem is, and I didn't realize this, the road curves around and we are at pretty much the end of the road here. Like there is no way.
We are on
There's the interstate.
where we were. Way over there. Way off that way. Like.
What the fuck?
What illuminated it? Are you ready to
In just that one little section. Just that section. There was nothing on either side of it. It was just here and gone. 3 seconds max.
Are you ready to say spook light?
No. Not yet, but pretty damn close.
So what's about to happen right now is Josh is running down the road here. He's going to go down as far as he can and come back over the hill. And I'm going to keep an eye on the hill where we saw the light illuminating the trees and everything to see if his car headlights will cause a reflection down there. We just drove this road. We don't know what it was. There's no crossroad down there. There's no way anybody could be coming from that direction this way and taking a turn because it just goes straight over the highway. So I don't know what that was, and we're going to find out, hopefully. If not, then it's just going to add to the mystery. It's down the side of the road here. Once he crested, here it goes. So what I saw when Josh came down the hill here was once he crested the hill, there was a line of light that went from this field over here all the way over to this field back over here. It didn't stay within that road area that's up at the top of the horizon there. So it wasn't somebody coming this way because there's no road to turn off of. And if somebody were coming this way, we'll see the light stretch all the way across and not just sectioned. So, just adds to the mystery of what the hell we just saw.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was that we just saw. What I do know is whatever that was something that sticks with you for a lifetime. That's just something that you don't forget. To test the theory of swamp gas and to attempt to find an explanation for what we had seen, we are given access to a piece of equipment that detects gas in the atmosphere.
On the second night that Josh and I were out here, we investigated this dirt road, and we had seen a light down here at the end of the road, which we thought was just over the hill. To us, it lit up the tree, and upon inspecting it today, we noticed that the tree is further up the road. And so whatever it was that lit up down there was closer to us than over the ridge there. So we're going to test that area for some natural gas to see if anything down there was causing the light that Josh and I had seen. This meter, it tests for oxygen, carbon, hydrogen sulfide.
Yep.
Fuck yeah. And the LEL was the explosive
methane.
gases, methane. So we're going to run down here where we saw the light, check it out, see what happens, see what we get, if anything. This tube is for cocaine. This is about the area that we saw the light. We'll let this set here for a second. It's not, nothing's changing. We got 0 on the explosive gases, the methane, 20.9 on oxygen, 0 on carbon, and 0 on the hydrogen. So, shit, that's tall. That's not even in the ground. Nothing. More beat. Come on. There we go. There ain't nothing coming out of that. So I don't know. I don't know what that could be.
Whether it's natural occurrence, spirits of the deceased, or other supernatural anomalies, there is no denying the history of sightings and experiences many have had over the last 150 years plus. As for what we saw out on that country road, we can only chalk it up to an unexplained personal experience, and one that we will remember. At this point in our exploration, we were pretty happy with what we had seen and done, but our excitement was just getting amped up for our final location. We traveled over 2,000 miles to the Brown Mountains of North Carolina to see if we could dig up information and document the infamous Brown Mountain Lights. We arrived just before dawn, and before we could check into our campsite, we took advantage of the sunrise at Brown Mountain Lookout.
It's so fucking picturesque, I don't know where to start, you know what I mean?
We got out here at about 4 o'clock last night, and of course we couldn't really see anything but the horizon or the outline of the mountains. There was no moon, so there was no illumination on the hills. Tonight there's not going to be any moon. The sky should be clear. So if we do see something in the hills, it's going to be from its own illumination. It's not going to be from moonlight bouncing off of it.
Other than getting here at like 4 a.m. and being able to see the landscape at night, which was super amazing and impressive, it was a really cool feeling just to finally say, we're here. We made it, right? Pretty impressive landscape, I will say that. I'm really looking forward to this evening and seeing if we can figure out what the heck these lights are.
After getting everything settled at the campsite, our main focus for the day was to stop by the library in Morganton to see what information we could find regarding the light.
We're here at the library to do some background research on some of the origin stories of the Brown Mountain lights. We were told that they had records of some of the geological surveys, different ghost stories and things of that nature. So we're going to go through these folders here and just kind of see what we find.
This is something super interesting.
Okay, shoot.
Uncle Fate saw ghostly lights. So what this is saying here, what we now know is as Wiseman's view,
yeah,
right? And it says here, as a small boy, Uncle Fate Wiseman camped out here on the rim of Linville Gorge, which apparently is what that gorge is called.
Right.
And watched the now famous, ever-puzzling Brown Mountain lights gamble in the night. So this is literally almost like named after him. Like he would sit out here and pitch a tent and just observe these lights from
kind of like us.
Exactly like us. I mean, even from a small child being able to just go out there whenever he wanted to.
That's
check
awesome,
out
though.
these lights. Super cool.
Have that in your backyard?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Another person from the Geological Society in 1922, February 22nd, 1923, did a report. Okay. And he basically went through, he did a thorough investigation. He did 2 weeks observing from different mountains. And so he had all these different perspectives and even witnessed the lights. Okay. Now in his report, he went through and of course noted everything he saw, and in accordance with the different claims that people have had. Now he went through all the proposed explanations and totally shredded them. Okay, so I'm going to read these to you.
Shot them down.
Shot them down, and some of them are, stuff normal people wouldn't think of.
Sure.
So, number one being will-o'-the-wisp, phosphorus, radium emanations, phosphorescence or foxfire, St. Elmo's fire, chemical reaction between hydrogen sulfide and lead oxide. Another one that somebody said was a mirage, locomotive headlights.
Right.
Let's see, and automobile headlights. Let's see, Andy's light.
They're shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
So they're trying so hard to disprove it
that they're taking anything.
Yeah, they're just grabbing anything that they can.
So all the suggested thoughts or explanations people have put forward, he has found a way to disprove them.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's go into the future a little bit. This is from 1923.
Right.
In September 1st of 67, this is a letter from the United States Department of the Interior, the Geological Survey in Washington, D.C. Somebody had written them, Mr. McGill, and they wrote it back saying the Geological Survey did perform an investigation into the Brown Mountain Lights, results of which were issued in 1922. Because of the investigation was rather far removed from our normal subject matter, the results were never published in our regular series of reports.
What?
But instead were issued as a lengthy press release. A copy of the press release is enclosed with this letter. Our organization has conducted no other investigations of the phenomena.
Throughout our 2 days in North Carolina, one particular description of the lights that seemed to keep showing up in our research and interviews was that people were seeing a red-colored light. At this time, it only sounded like an odd coincidence, but would later become a vital bit of information.
Here's what's interesting. The Joplin spook light.
Yeah.
The Army Corps of Engineers investigated twice.
Right.
Brown Mountain lights. The Geological the Department of Interior and the Geological Survey also did extensive investigating on it as well.
Yeah.
And nobody was able to come up with an explanation.
Exactly. They're not able to put their fingers on it. And I think that ultimately, I mean, you talk to any government official, not knowing something, that's going to scare the shit out of them more than anything in the world, right? If they can't figure it out, that's what's terrifying.
Before it got too late, we met up with our good friend Richard Rose, who we invited out for the first night.
I know one thing. Josh has smoked like 3 packs of cigarettes since we've been here. So we need to see something quick or he's going to catch cancer.
Real quick.
Once again, the night fell silent. Although it was good to see our friend again, we couldn't help but to feel disappointed. We had filmed several locations and only had a questionable experience that wasn't captured on film. But because we had come so far and put in the work, we were not about to throw in the towel. The next day, we went to the town of Morganton to talk to some people and find out a little more about the lights. We also got to interview Ed Phillips of the Burke County Tourism Development Authority.
The first reported, published accounting of the Brown Mountain Lights occurred in the Charlotte Observer. And it was actually from the Morganton Fishing Club, which was based out at Lake James, and they reported, it was in the late 1919, I believe, reported seeing mysterious lights up in the mountains while they were out fishing on Lake James. And of course, back then there weren't many roads at all that went up in the mountains, and they saw lights dancing around in the sky. And so that was the first documented on paper newspaper accounting. Prior to that, it was more lore, legend from the 1800s, late 1800s, that people passed down from family to family, that what they had seen as settlers in the area.
In 1916, there was a tremendous flood in the area in which about 22 inches of rain fell and destroyed much of the area, halting railroad transportation. Prior to the flooding, reports were typically dismissed as lights from trains, yet when the flood occurred, the reports continued.
There was nothing conventional that could have created these lights back in the early 1900s. The Brown Mountain Lights have been part of the lore of the area for a long time, and so it's what we see as uniquely North Carolina, uniquely Burke County and Morganton, North Carolina. It's something that we have here that's real, unexplainable, but real. People have seen it. So it means a lot to us to have something very unique like this, that people come here to explore and camp and hike and do scientific observations to try to find out what the lights are. The fact that they're unknown, they're mysterious, they're not predictable. You have to come. Some people have been 50 times and never seen them. Some people have been 3 or 4 times and have seen them. The UFO piece has been perpetuated by conspiracy theorists, but there is basis for, there was a lot of government activity, military activity, Some people say NASA activity around Brown Mountain back in the 60s and 70s. So I think it's a part of that it's just a huge mystery. It's in the mountains. The mountains are mysterious, just by themselves. Up Highway 181, they call it Area 181 because there used to be a lot of military activity in aircraft that flew over there. And there is a low-level aircraft training route that passes through there. In this area, we really have three places that are most popular for viewing the Brown Mountain Lights that are easily accessible. There are others that are less accessible that require a hike. And since the lights are seen at night, it requires a nighttime hike, which not everybody's real comfortable with. But for the easily accessible sites, it's the Brown Mountain Overlook, which is on Highway 181, about 20 miles north of downtown Morganton. The next most popular area is Wiseman's View. Wiseman's View is a U.S. Forest Service overlook, and there are two rock pulpits that you can walk down to and stand on and look out. Each pulpit can maybe hold 6 to 8 people at a time. There's also overlooks back up that you can look down over the pulpit down into the Linville Gorge. You can see Table Rock and Hawksbill Mountain, and then you can look across, further across to Brown Mountain itself through a gap between Table Rock and Hawksbill Mountain. So those two places, they're easily accessible. And then there's another place off of the Blue Ridge Parkway called the Lost Cove Cliffs Overlook. And you can pull over there, there's a grassy area, and you can look down. It's probably 6, 7, 8 miles down to Brown Mountain from there.
Among the claims and reports, Ed told us of a time in which he witnessed the phenomena.
It was in April of 2013, and I actually had a journalist with me, and we went up specifically to try to find or see the Brown Mountain Lights. And we'd been there about 45 minutes. It was about 9:45 at night, and we had our chairs out and we're looking across at Brown Mountain, and this light appeared. And which is the typical description of the light is it's dim and it grows brighter and brighter, and then it can kind of flicker, if you will, and then go out, and then it may travel a little bit, dimly lit or not lit at all, and reappear someplace else. What we saw was on a cliff face. There's no way a human being could travel that fast between point A and point B. It was impossible to go, let's say, 400 or 500 yards in 10 seconds or so and reappear another light and then move across the face. And we looked at each other and said, "Do you see what I see?" And we said, "Yeah." And here we are both sitting there, and we witnessed it for probably 30 to 45 seconds, I would say. Neither one of us tried to take a picture of it. We were just that astounded that we actually saw it. The science behind lights in the sky suggests that it's ball lightning, that it's electrostatic electricity that for some reason is bound together in a ball and appears for a certain period of time, and when that energy from that lightning or static electricity in the air dissipates, they disappear. I don't know if that's feasible for what I've seen or heard about or I've seen photos of. When people talk about the lights moving in the manner they do, or wandering around in the sky over Brown Mountain and then shooting off in a perfectly flat line to some other location and at a tremendous speed. Is that ball lightning? Is that how ball lightning behaves? No. This is a unique piece of nature. It's a unique part of our planet that we don't understand. They're still finding new species of plants and animals on this earth today. And who knows what this is? Will science ever explain it? Possibly. But right now we just don't know.
Ed gave us some valuable insight and directed us to Wiseman's View, a location tucked back in the National Forest with an astonishing view and the best place to see the lights.
Alright, I'm as bright as I can get without it chopping.
Dawn quickly fell upon us by the time we arrived at Wiseman's View. With enough light left, we were met by the most awe-inspiring view of the mountains.
Oh, there's Table Rock. Holy crap, that is amazing.
We were so taken back by the view that the worries and concerns of seeing or not seeing the lights momentarily faded away.
Holy shnikes, dude. The mountain to your left?
Yeah. It's very important we don't drop like shit.
Very important.
One fucking fall.
This is absolutely breathtaking.
I hope you're not afraid of
Right? Are you really? Holy
me.
Wow, this is where we should have been last night. Holy fuck, Rick Rose is missing this. Guys, look at this. Look at this shit. Holy shit.
Without realizing it at the time, we inadvertently captured a flicker of light off in the distance. As darkness enveloped the landscape, we employed a new strategy to catching the lights. By opening the aperture on the cameras fully, it allows more light in. For still photos, this made for amazing pictures which could potentially show movement. For video, however, this made the video choppy, yet effective.
Basically what I'm doing is I'm doing a long exposure shot. So basically I'll click and hold for the aperture and it will just remain open, basically soaking in all of the light that it possibly can until I release the button. So basically we'll be able to take shots and things of that nature. Are you ready?
What is this?
This is 30 seconds of a long exposure, or actually I'm just gonna wait till it says 40 seconds. So 40 seconds, long exposure at Table Rock.
Something streaked across the sky.
That is most likely whatever that is up in the sky. Do you see that thing?
Oh yeah, probably a plane.
It's a plane. Yeah, but that's pretty sweet though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you see the light, what does it usually look like?
And generally, they are like circular, orange, orb-looking balls. And matter of fact, I was standing right here at this overlook with a friend of mine, and one popped up about 10 foot from us right here, midair, and it was like a big basketball, orange, that kind of like just pulsated. He jumped into me, I jumped backwards, and we kind of skedaddled. We didn't really know what to do, you know. It's pretty scary.
Shortly after speaking with Andy, David noticed a peculiar light appear at Hawksbill Mountain.
Over here on this mountain, there's not been any human activity. Some of these hills we can see where there's campfires and people camping, but on this other side over here, there's been nothing. And this light, I saw it out of the corner of my eye. It like got really super bright, and then it just went away, and then it came back on. That's when I hit Josh. I'm like, "Hey, Josh, see this?"
So, got the flare out, and I mean, pretty much 45 seconds after I got this thing up and running, David saw something over here on this mountain range, a light anomaly up top. It was not on the mountain at all. That's what's really bizarre about it. So I was lucky enough to actually capture it for like a second before it blinks once, and then it completely blinks out of existence. Basically, it's gone. We haven't seen it since.
There's not been any lights over there all night.
No, there has not been. Okay, well, I'm going to cut this and save it then.
Huh?
Oh, I got it.
I got it.
Yeah, I got it.
We were seeing the light again over at the same mountain.
Look, it's moving.
Oh yeah.
Shit. Did you see the trail?
Yeah, I did.
Look.
So, okay, so we've seen the light again on the same mountain. Josh did a full exposure on it. Apparently the thing moved. I think we can say for sure that that's not a campfire.
moved a good 150 feet, 100 feet. How far do you think that is?
I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
In a matter of 30 seconds, 40 seconds, for an explosion.
We were lucky enough to catch it on thermal imaging, but an hour later, more lights began to appear around Table Rock, and this time, we captured something amazing.
Dave, what just happened?
Well, we've been seeing some lights over on what's known as Hawksbill, and we got a couple captures with that. Well, a little later, on Table Rock Mountain, just to the side of it, there's two humps known as the chimneys, and we were seeing lights on the chimneys. So I decided to grab my camera, open up the aperture, let as much light in as I could. The footage gets jumpy when you do that, but I was still able to shoot with it. And I wanted to shoot those lights. Well, I noticed that there's a red light off of Table Rock, and when I started shooting it, this red light started moving off of the mountain up into the air, and I mean it moved significantly into the air, and then after a while it disappeared. A few seconds later, another light shows up in midair and then disappears.
I got it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm getting it right now on video. Oh, it's so bright. The other one's getting up there now. There's a red light on Table Rock.
Is there?
On the right side of it. There's a red light. I've got it on my camera right now. It's not even touching Table Rock, dude.
Seriously.
It's not. Dude, come here.
Come on, God damn it.
Dude.
Sorry, bud. I'm trying to hustle.
It's fucking moving.
Dude.
It is moving. Dude, come here. Right here.
Oh,
it's off of Table Rock, dude. Look.
Yeah.
It's a red light. It's right up there. It's gone. It is gone. Oh, I got that on camera, dude.
Good. That's badass. It's the one on top of Table Rock?
It was on the backside by the chimneys, but it wasn't even on the mountain. It's in the air.
Is it gone?
It's gone. Oh no, it showed up over the...
I'm just at too low of a vantage point on it.
Oh my god, I did. Oh, there's...
Keep it up.
Light's coming back.
Keep it up.
It's up. It's gone now.
I see it.
There it is.
Look at it.
Oh my god.
Is it way up high?
Yes.
I'm getting it, dude. I'm getting it.
It is gone. It's gone.
Yeah, I got it on here. This long exposure might be fucking crazy. What the fuck?
The thing about that is, that red light just validates so many other claims that people have had who've experienced the Brown Mountain Lights. So for us to be able to validate their experiences and get footage of it, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm so happy about this. I had no expectations on this. After the first night, I'm all shocked. I'm blown away by this. This is amazing. So I don't know how else to describe it. It's an amazing feeling.
Our exploration of the spook light phenomena took us halfway across the country and proved challenging, yet successful. We gained valuable insight behind these legends, and for one, we uncovered the truth. In our research, healthy skepticism was met with events unproven by science. Although explanations and theories are abound, many of the light phenomena go unexplained. In the world of the paranormal, little research has been done with this subject, and the spook light remains a mystery to this day.
I'm coming home tonight. And it won't be long till I get to hold you tight. Turn off the phone, draw the shades, and turn down the lights. 'Cause I'm coming home, I'm coming home, home tonight. We broke down again, we ran out of gas on a gypsy rose lead. Now she smells like an ass, and I've lost 13 pounds. Oh, we've had our fun, hung over for weeks, but now that it's done, I'm coming home tonight. And it won't be long till I get to hold you tight. Turn off the phone, draw the shades, and turn down the lights. 'Cause I'm coming home, I'm coming home, home tonight. Spend all my pay on Manhattan booze. I got 7 new scars, and I can't find my shoes. We made lots of new friends, all gypsies and freaks. All I wanna do now is just hold you for weeks. 'Cause I'm coming home tonight. It won't be long till I get to hold you tight. Turn off the phone, draw the shades, and turn down the lights. 'Cause I'm coming home, I'm coming home, home tonight. Yeah, I'm coming home tonight. And it won't be long till I get to hold you tight. Turn off the phone, draw the shades, and turn down the lights. 'Cause I'm coming home, I'm coming home, home tonight.
Close enough for what I do.